Hello everybody, so today I will be showing you how to apply for dual citizenship during this time. So they have changed things a lot. So most of the things gets complicated. I would say most of everything when it comes to processing paperwork or doing stuff outside. But for me, this application gets convenient. So me and my husband take off like Thursday so that we can have to do this paperwork, right? It turns out it's good, that you have to check the website before you do anything because, they change processing, especially during this time. The process of the dual citizenship was changed. So usually we have to mail the paperwork. And after mailing, I have also to notarize the form. So me and my husband was planning to go drive to Chicago, notarize my paperwork, and then mail it because they don't usually the Chicago or Filipinos that applying here in the US Midwest. Oh, I show you the thing. They only accept through mail, so they don't really accept walk-in applicant. But then because we needed to notarize the application form, we have to drive to Chicago for that. And then it turns out during this pandemic they changed the processing, so they don't accept mail application starting September 7. So we have to, anyways, I did my application in my living room, in our living room, and then they usually respond very, very quickly, and I don't have to wait for so long. I'll show you how to do it, guys. Alright, guys. We're gonna talk about step-by-step or things that you need to know about dual citizenship. We're gonna talk about frequently asked question, what is the difference between today's time and the usual process of applying for dual citizenship. So we're gonna start with how to apply for today's time. So effective September 7, so I usually visit their website to see some updates, and usually other offices, other consulate in other states are different process, but we're talking about the Chicago's right now, and I always visit their website before I do anything. So this is their advisory here. Effective September 2020, the consulate will start accepting new application for citizenship retention under RA 9225, and applicants will be required to submit copies of the required documents via email. So usually the usual process for the dual citizenship was you mail your documents, but for today's time you only email them first. And then we'll go to the next here. So the requirements for applying for dual citizenship are your form with the attached photos on it, birth certificate, marriage certificate, and for divorce or annulled is annulled decree, or for the death spouse is death certificate, for US naturalization certificate, data page of the passport if available. So if you don't have passport, then I don't think it's necessary, it's just optional. And data page of US passport if you have them too. And if the applicant is registered alien with Bureau Immigration, the applicant must surrender the original ACR. Okay guys, and this can be submitted through email through dualcitizenship.chicago.pcj@gmail.com. So I have it here highlighted. And so after this, after you submit your paperwork through email, the consulate will send you a instruction on how to do your payment of $50. That's the payment for applying for dual citizenship. So after that, they're gonna give you a oath-taking ceremony at the consulate. And so they also have the Chicago Department of Public Health Commissioner have issued an emergency travel order. So if you are coming from following states listed below here, which is great that Wisconsin is not here, because if you're coming from the states mentioned below here, you are required to undergo the 14-day quarantine upon arrival in Chicago. So that's gonna be so complicated for the, what they call that, for the people that applying for dual citizenship that is listed down below here. It's too much, I guess. Okay guys, so after I have submitted all my file, my documents, the required documents that they were asking, they email me back, and they usually want the form notarized. So I asked them if the form needed to be notarized, and they get back to me and said no, it doesn't need to be notarized, which is great because we're gonna have a trip to Chicago just for that. So anyways, after I submitted just my application on Monday, I guess, and I received their email on Tuesday. So they really get back to you quickly, so you don't have to worry about waiting for too much time for the application, because they get the response to you right away. So anyway, after they receive my application, they send me back a schedule for my oath taking. So they have these steps here that you have to follow. So in order to prepare my certificates, they have to print out the certificate of me having to be accepted as a dual citizenship, you know what I mean. They ask for payment, you know, the payment for your application, and also they were asking for your original form with a photocopy, just like here in the screen. So they were asking the payment either in cash or by money order, in the original application form with attached photos on it and its photocopy. And you should also put a first page copy of this email. You know, you have to print it and then put it on the envelope with these two things here that they were asking. When it comes to sending the payment, my husband said that it's not advisable to send the money because you don't really have an evidence or a receipt that you send them the payment. So we get through the effort of having to do the money order. And by the way guys, if your bank is closed or you're having trouble with when it comes to money order, there is a place where you can actually get the money order for free. I'll put the name of the PSL checks and cashiers. Let me see. So this is the thing that we didn't know. Okay, we fall in the line in the bank and we were like waiting there for so long, you know. So we look into other banks, and other banks usually are open, and then we go to the drive-in and then we ask the person, an employee there, if we could have a money order. So it's a different bank, but they always do that. So anyways, the employees said they cannot give us a money order if we don't have an account on it. But then she said there actually a place near here where they can have your money order for free. So in the bank you have to pay $5, but in PLS check cashiers, I'll put the website down below, guys, and the picture of the company here on the screen. You can actually have your money order for free, which is great. So you have a receipt that you send the money, and you have all the needed documents for that. So that is good, I think, to choose the money order instead of cash. So step 2 here is they have all the instructions you're gonna need. They're asking you to bring on the oath taking original copy and submit 2 photocopies of birth certificate, marriage certificate, U.S. naturalization certificate, U.S. passport, and Philippine passport. The consulate is saying that they don't have available photocopy machine when you get in there, so it is best to have copies when you get there so that you don't to avoid the inconvenience, you know, of looking something, so that you'll have it already. Before the requirements, I have been checking how to process the dual citizenship for a very long time since I started processing my paperwork. So I keep checking what are the documents I'm gonna need, because I have prepared all my paperwork in advance. So anyways, they kind of changed a bit. Before, they were asking 3 photocopies of each, and then they were asking a report of marriage if you are not married in the Philippines, and they were asking evidence that you are a former Filipino citizen. So nowadays, during this new process started September 7, they're not asking all those, which is great. You know, it's less paperwork for you and more convenient. You know, you don't have to bring too much. Anyways, these are the documents they're asking from you, and it's good to have at least 3 copies, I guess, for safety. But here on the email that they're asking only 2 photocopies, and please bring the original. So here are they saying the mail me 2 step 2 and number 2, what happens if I don't have all the original documents. So this is a problem because they usually, when you give them your email, right, when you email them all the documents, you should have all the documents already in PDF file. You send it to them, right, in PDF file. And then what happens if I don't have all the original documents? Now this is a problem. The consulate will only accept applications with complete requirements. So if you lack the original documents, please inform the consulate and do not send the payment, which is the step 1. So if you don't have all the required documents, please don't proceed to step 1, because your appointment will be cancelled and you won't have all your $50 will be forfeited on that one. So what happens if I cannot attend the oath taking? If you are one of these states here, so if you don't want to do 2 weeks quarantine in this state here, and you don't want to go through 2 weeks 14 days quarantine in Chicago, and you are scheduled to do oath taking, and you will not be able to attend, let me look at here, and you will not able to attend because you don't want to go through that. So inform the consulate that you cannot do that, and please do not send the required payment However, if you will not attend the second appointment they give you or fail to appear in the consulate, your application will be automatically cancelled and your payment will be forfeited. So what should I wear for the oath-taking ceremony? So this is important with the Filipinos. This is what I noticed. Government offices, when you are processing paperwork, usually they want you to dress up properly, formal, something like that. So you should not do spaghetti strap, flip-flops, walking shorts. Here in the US though, when I process my state ID, that is very different. They don't really care what you wear as long as you just do your paperwork. So that is a little bit difference. In the Philippines, whenever you go to consulate or any government offices, they usually require you to wear a proper clothing. When I bring my family member for the oath-taking ceremony, so here only the principal applicants will be allowed to enter the consulate. So minor applicants do not derivative dependents do not need to attend the ceremony. So if you are applying for dual citizenship and you have a dependent like a child, your children, they don't need to attend the ceremony. So you can attend, but they don't have to. Anyways, for me and my husband is just gonna have to wait for me outside because they don't accept people to go enter the consulate. I mean, people that is not applying for it. So they only apply. They will only allow the principal applicants to go inside. Persons with disability will be allowed to bring one companion. So for the submission of health declaration form, applicants will be required to fill up a health declaration form when they arrive at the consulate. You don't need to send the form in advance to the Chicago because when you actually get there, you're gonna have to take your temperature. But anyway, you have to download the form and bring it with you when you go there. Please download the form in this link. So you have to have the form ready with you. And usually they were just asking your temperature, personal information. Let me see. They were asking if you have traveled in the following states: New York, California, and if you have been in a reunion, if you have visited a hospital, clinic, and if you have number of household and contact with a positive patient, something like that. And if you have symptoms, so you will have to bring this form with you, but then they have to take your temperature and stuff, so you don't have to send this stuff, you don't have to send this through email. You have to bring it with you during your oath-taking schedule. They were asking also to bring your own pens, so they have you all get ready here. And also wear face mask, and food and drinks are not allowed. And if you live outside the Illinois, which I showed you the states that they were having emergency travel orders on that state, if you are gonna apply and if you watch this video months from now, I would recommend you to check their website first. So I'll show you here how to do that. This is to make sure that you're doing the things, because they usually change the process as the times go by. They might change the requirements needed, and they also differs from state to state. I think after the pandemic, they're gonna go back to that, the usual way of processing. But anyways, just to make sure, I'll show you how to check the website step by step here. So anyways, go to Google and type in Consulate of the Philippines in the USA. And then it will show you here all the names of the consulate. Usually mine is Consulate General of the Philippines in Chicago, so that is the nearest one on me, so I always go there. So if you're near in New York or Washington, or if you don't see it here on the screen, just click view all, and then it will take you all to this website that we have. Anyway, just click the website. Right now I'm doing the Chicago one, so I'll just go to the website of the Chicago, Philippines, and then it will take me here to their website. Anyways, to go to the information about the dual citizenship, I would go to the list of services, click on that, and then go scroll down, and it will take you here to the dual citizenship. Click to the download dual citizenship application form, and it will take you again here. Just scroll down, and down below you will see the petition for dual citizenship download, and click on that, and then it will take you to the all information you're gonna need. So they change as the time comes by. Anyways, I want you to know that we have a consulate in Chicago, we have in Washington DC, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, California. We have 2 in Los Angeles, California. We have in San Francisco. I think it's Washington DC again there. So anyways, when you type in that consulate in the USA, it will take you to all the website available in the States. So you just choose what is nearest to you, because like me here in Wisconsin, I would not want to drive to go to New York, or it's not actually gonna be in their jurisdiction. So it's good to know which is the nearest one from you, because sometimes they have jurisdiction. So if you apply, if you mail your stuff to New York, New York office might mail it to the Chicago, so it's kinda gonna be delaying your process if you don't send it to the right office. It's actually happened to my application on removal of my residence. I did mail my application to California, and California actually mail it to Minnesota, because that is where the jurisdiction is. Back then I'm still learning how to do all this processing, so I'm kind of like in the middle of it. I'm asking people how they did their processing, but actually you can actually just go to their website and have all the information needed. But back then I don't know how to do that. So anyways, if you are a Filipino citizen that becomes a US citizen, why would you wanna be a dual citizen? I'm gonna show you here question that is frequently asked by Filipinos, and something that you might wanna know about this applying for your dual citizenship. So what are the advantages of having to have 2 citizenship? Because you can actually just have one, you don't have to have 2. But anyways, why would you want to do that? What are the frequently asked questions and the things you might want to know? So what are the rights and privileges that would enjoy when I acquire my dual citizenship? So these are the right to travel with Philippine passport, and number 2 here is the right to own a real property in the Philippines. Now this is a good one, because if you are an American citizen, usually this is a law in the Philippines there. If you are a foreigner, you are not allowed to own a property. So this is a big thing there. Like if you're married to Filipina, and usually American and Filipina, they get married, they settle in the Philippines. Usually what happens is they just name the property to their wives. and the right to engage business and commerce as a Filipino, and your spouse also automatically eligible for immigrant visa. So you have paperwork for that, but we'll get into that as we go through. And then of course you will enjoy the privilege of being a Filipino. So what are the implications on payment on income taxes? Now this is a big thing if you, I don't know in other countries, but this is a bit, if you are allowed, see here in the Philippines, you don't have, under the Philippine Comprehensive Tax Reform Program 1997, income earned overseas by Filipinos from 1998 onwards are no longer taxable. So before, I think they tax you even though you didn't earn your money in the Philippines, which is gonna be the disadvantage if it's still the same on this moment. So if it's still the same on this moment, I would not wanna apply for that. I don't know in other countries. I know other countries allow dual citizenship too, but here in the Philippines, they used to tax your income even though it wasn't earned in the Philippines. But because of tax reform of 1997, so your income that you earn from other country is not taxable anymore in the Philippines. So that is good. I don't have to worry about my income here being taxed by the Philippines because I earn my money in here. So that is gonna be a really good news for the people that are applying for dual citizenship. So what about the payment of Philippine travel taxes? So yeah, we have travel taxes. So travel tax exemption is being granted to dual citizen only if they didn't exceed staying in the Philippines for more than a year. So if you stayed in the Philippines for 2 years, yes, you are gonna be paying the Philippine travel tax. So is there a residency requirement to be eligible in the eligible for dual citizenship? And residency in the Philippines is not a requirement, which is great. Can I now reside in the Philippines? I would say yes, of course, because you are a dual citizen now. You're a Filipino citizen and you're American citizen, so you can stay which country you actually want to choose to, or you can go back 1 year on the other country. It's up to you, which you are gonna be eligible to both countries. So will my application for dual citizenship under RA 9225 affect my US citizenship? This is probably a common question asked by Filipinas, because usually when you become US citizen, you immediately lose your citizenship in the Philippines. Like right now, I'm not a Filipino citizenship right now because my application didn't go through yet. So I lost it the day I become a US citizen. So the act does not require to renounce his or her US citizenship. So having dual citizenship does not renounce of you being US citizenship, because the US Supreme Court as early as 1952 has started that dual citizenship is a status long recognized by law. So it's a US law that allow its citizen to have two citizenship. Because in the Philippines, actually guys, if you are a Filipino citizenship, if you are a foreigner and you wanna stay in the Philippines and not deal with paperwork, right? Immigrant visa, it depends on what you get. You have to renew some by year, some by 3 months, I'll have a research on that, and I'll have separate video as I go through with the process. Anyways, so if you are a foreigner and you don't want to go through that process, usually the only thing you can do on that is to become a Filipino citizen. But Philippines usually does not allow you to have dual citizenship. So it's either you give up your citizenship and become a Filipino citizen, or just become having to have the immigrant visa. So, and mostly foreigners, or most foreigners, I think, would not want to do that because they might want to come back in the US or their country of residence whenever they want to. So they usually just stick on the immigrant visa. So that's good that the US allowed their citizen to have two citizenship. Upon reacquisition of Philippine citizenship, I required to apply for Philippine passport. So this is one good one here. So when I applied my before I get my American citizenship, I just got my Philippine passport. So my Philippine passport is like really new, like not even a year old when I got my US citizenship. And you know, I go through all that process. Yeah, when you are actually, guys, when you're trying to do all the paperwork and you have no idea how to do it, you get to tend to do some stuff that would say a waste. Because I just got my passport, not even a year old, and then when I got my US citizenship, I immediately lose the validity of that passport. So I kinda basically go through the process for a waste, maybe. Or well, I learned something from it, but it's a necessary thing that you don't need to do when you get your Philippine passport. I could have gotten my Philippine passport after I get my dual citizenship, but my passport was expiring back then, and I want to renew it, which I should have waited before I renew my passport. So anyway, one good thing of having your passport or Philippine passport is to exempt you from paying the immigration fee, which is great. You know, when you're traveling and stuff, if you have Philippine passport, it exempts you for paying an immigration fee. It can be presented together with the US passport. Furthermore, possession of valid Philippine passport enable you to visit visa-free entry for up to 30 days. So there are countries that doesn't allow, I think, US passport for having 30-day stay. So I know US passport have more countries that will let you stay for more than 30 days. They have more countries that they have a deal with that. But anyways, there are also countries that will allow you to stay more than 30 days if you have a Philippine passport. It says here Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam. I'll put in the screen below, guys, if these countries also allowed a Philippine American passport to stay more than 30 days. So if in that case it disadvantage here is doesn't really count. But anyways, I put in the screen what's going on with that to clarify you. So I still have a valid passport which I renewed before I got my natural asylum. Now that I'm confident, I can still use this passport. So this is the one that I just discussed not a long time ago, that yes, right after you get your US citizenship, you immediately lose your Philippine citizenship, which means losing all your losing also your passport validity. So while my spouse, who is not a former Filipino who will travel with me in the Philippines, be required to secure additional travel documents from the Philippine consulate before leaving. So under the Balikbayan law, a Filipino citizen's foreign spouse is entitled to visit visa-free for period of 1 year, less than 1 year and less than, as long as they can present a round-trip ticket. So anyways, this one, it might change as the time goes by, but if you are married to a Filipina or Filipino, you are allowed to stay for 1 year in the Philippines visa-free, as long as you are able to present a round-trip ticket. So can my spouse, who is a former Filipino, live in the Philippines? Yes, guys. He or she can live in the Philippines, but they have to have an immigrant visa, or they have to live every 1 year to travel somewhere under the Balikbayan law. So you have two options here, an immigrant visa or just having to have the Balikbayan law. The adopted children of Filipinos qualify for citizenship. Yes, they are qualified because they become their legal children, and as a Filipino having your children, they are eligible to be a Filipino. So as I apply for this dual citizenship, guys, I have been looking into it for like 2 years ago. I want to have an idea, or I have been researching what are the documents I'm gonna need to do all this processing. So mostly I prepare some of it. Before I check the website, me and my husband were planning to go to Chicago, notarize my form, and then just drop it off in the Chicago consulate, because it doesn't make sense that we go drive to Chicago, notarize my form, go back home, and then mail it to Chicago. So we just plan to do that, notarize it, and then drop it off, because they don't actually accept walk-in applicants, which I just mentioned in the video here, and the US Midwest with the mentioned state. So anyways, we're gonna do that, and then I have to research in advance what to do. What are the changes, which is great that I did that. That's why I showed you how to check the website, guys, because whenever some changes happens, you might wanna check first what's going on before you go into it, because travel, I don't know, if you live in Chicago, fine, it's probably not that much better, but we're here in Wisconsin and it takes us like 3 hours to go there, and if we have gone there and then just find out that we cannot actually do what we're trying to do, we're just gonna waste the whole day. So anyways, it was a convenient for me to have this kind of process, because we didn't have to drive 3 hours to go to Chicago and drop it off from there. I actually just did my application in my living room. Of course, I have to have help from my husband. He has to scan all my documents and in a PDF file, because that's what they're asking. If you probably give it to them, not in a PDF file, they might not be able to accept your application, or they will mail you back. They were emailing you back and say that you have to submit your application in a PDF file. So anyways, it was very helpful. It's very convenient, although we have to put time into it, you know. The first step there, where we have to mail the form, the copy of the email, and then the money order, which I just showed you guys, where you can get actually a free money order, which is great. Aside from that, guys, during this pandemic, that process there was very convenient for me, and they actually get out some of the documents from there, like an evidence that I was a former Filipino. They actually take it out from the required requirements to be presented to have your dual citizenship. They also take out report of marriage, which is surprisingly, because I actually get my report of marriage a year, 2 years ago, something like that, because, you know, I look into the citizenship application. I usually process my things in advance, which I think it's a waste probably, but I still have to report my marriage, I guess, to the Filipinos. So anyways, that is all, guys. I hope this is helpful. It took me a long time to explain all this stuff, but I hope this is helpful to you if you are applying for the dual citizenship. Thank you, guys. Bye.